Welcome back, everyone. I can only conclude that it was the will of Allah for me to come across two items of interest recently. Here's the first one.
I was once asked by a fellow professor, after giving a 101 presentation on Islam, if I could honestly say to him with a straight face that Islam was not a threat to him. I responded to him by saying, Islam is not a threat, but it is a test. Islam as a religion and the Muslim community provide a potent test to almost every political and social movement, trend, claim, or party in our Western societies today. And if you don't reckon with this test, you risk not just alienating or oppressing Muslim populations, but robbing yourselves of the opportunity to appreciate the beauty of what has been made foreign to you before, and not remedying the gaps in your own thinking and practices.
Islam is not a threat, you see, to you or to me. No, it's a test. It's a test. It's a test for all of us. It's a test for our character. It's a test for our worldview, our beliefs. It's a test for our society. It's a test for our country. It's like the gold standard against which we can compare ourselves and see where we're lacking. Say that with a smile on your face in front of a room of uncritical people, afraid to ask tough questions because they might be called Islamophobes, and it almost seems believable in a fairy tale kind of way. But I do wonder, what would Christians in Nigeria think about this? The New York Post reports that thousands of Christians have been deliberately targeted and killed in Nigeria by terrorists. I'll put the link to this article in the description box. It reads in part, "The killing, persecution, and displacement of Christians in Nigeria is unrelenting and a time bomb," according to a major new report. Christians are deliberately targeted, as well as Christian communities, their livelihoods, faith leaders, and places of worship, according to a report by Open Doors International, a faith-based nonprofit working to raise awareness of global persecution, aiming to mobilize prayer support and action among Christians. Christians are reportedly becoming an endangered species there, says the report. Last year alone in Nigeria, there were more people that were killed because of their Christian faith than all other places in the globe combined. That's from Ryan Brown, the CEO of Open Doors. He added that in Nigeria, 4,998 Christians were killed because of their faith. And what religion do you suppose is responsible for this violence? I'll give you a hint. It's a test, not a threat. Attacks on Christians are said to have been carried out by Islamist terror groups Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa Province, and predominantly Muslim Fulani militants. When the Fulani gunmen came to attack, they could be heard shouting that familiar phrase, "Islam is a test, not a threat." Just kidding, they were shouting, "Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. We will destroy all Christians." Other interviewees report that in some cases, Christians are being forced to convert to Islam to get food or to preserve their livelihood. In addition to violence, internally displaced persons have obviously gone up. In 2014, there were about 1.1 million displaced, and as of 2023, there were 3.4 million. I'm sure this IDP issue, which has been growing in recent years, will get just as much attention as the so-called Palestinian refugee problem, which has been intentionally perpetuated for decades. The report claims supporters of the Islamist terror group, You mean testing group, Boko Haram, are particularly vindictive against Christians in Nigeria. Boko Haram target people that are working with the church, claims one interviewee. Maybe you have a position like secretary, or you have any position in the church, you're a target. In every community, they have a list of people they're looking for. This week, South Africa's most senior Jewish clergyman had some unusually harsh words for the Pope and the head of the Church of England for not helping their Christian flock in Africa. Chief Rabbi Warren Goldstein released a statement declaring they stand by passively as their fellow Christians in Africa are butchered by jihadi groups with direct ties to Israel's enemies in Gaza and the West Bank. Groups like Boko Haram, ISIS, and al-Shish-Kebab are the ideological brothers in arms of Hamas. One parent interviewed for the Open Doors report explained, "My children, each time they hear anything, they panic or go into hiding because it triggers the trauma. The terror of the attacks has not stopped, rather it has increased." So what can be done about this from the Christian perspective? Well, the organization Voice of the Martyrs is very well known, reputable, and trustworthy. They're doing work specifically in Nigeria to try to relieve some of this suffering. So if you're looking for avenues to help out, that's a very good one. Also, of course, as Christians, we should set aside time and pray for the Christians in Nigeria every day. Lift them up in our prayers. in their tribulation. Also pray to be like them. Don't only pray for them. Pray to be like them. Pray to emulate their faith and their courage. Here in the West, we have more than our fair share of cowards, it seems, in every aspect of our society. And that includes, unfortunately, the Christian life. And so we would do well with many fewer cowards all around, including Christian ones. So let's pray to be more like our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.